Hi everyone, this is Selvi. Today's topic is best practices in the backlog refinement. So, we have already covered in our previous episodes how to perform the backlog refinement meeting, what happens in the backlog refinement meeting, and as a team, what we need to concentrate in the backlog refinement meeting. These all things we have covered. So, today's topic is more going to be like what are the best practices that we need to follow during the backlog refinement meeting or even before planning the backlog refinement meeting. First thing, calendarizing the backlog refinement meeting. First best practice is calendarizing the backlog refinement meeting. When I say calendarizing the backlog refinement meeting, we should not go with a general rule like every week we should block 1 hour for the backlog refinement meeting. That is not the right logic. The right logic is based on the product backlog health and the need of the refinement should be taken care. How we can calculate whether there is a need or not? How we can identify whether there is a need or not? Using the product backlog health, we should identify whether there is a need for the backlog refinement meeting. If there is a need, then we need to plan. And we should always capture how much time we are spending for each and every backlog refinement meeting and what is the outcome of the backlog refinement meeting. When I say hours and the outcome, for example, first backlog refinement meeting that happened on so and so day, for example, let's take January 3rd. So, January 3rd, we had one backlog refinement meeting and 1 hour as a team we had spent and we have achieved 12 story points. When I say achieved here is nothing but we were able to estimate work items and get the story points for those work items as an estimate as 12 story points. That is the outcome of the backlog refinement meeting. That is the achievement of the backlog refinement meeting. So like this, we need to capture all the history. What is the use of this? The use of this is how many hours we really need to spend for the backlog refinement meeting to achieve so and so story points. We can roughly calculate. Like so far 5 hours we have totally achieved 60 story points. That means in 1 hour we will be able to achieve 12 story points. So this will give us the confidence, okay, if I need to target for 24 story points, then I should plan for 2 hours. These all topics we have already covered in our previous episodes. Time to calculate how many hours required for the backlog refinement meeting and how to calculate the product backlog health. These two things are very important to plan our backlog refinement meeting. This will give us complete clarity. Where are we lagging? How many story points still we have as a gap? And how many hours we need to really plan to fill that gap? So these two things we will be able to easily achieve out of these two parameters. So this is the first best practice. According to these things, calendarize the refinement meeting. Do not make it as a practice. Every week we will be spending 1 hour for the backlog refinement meeting. That is not required because our product backlog health may be really good. So why we need to spend extra hours in the refinement meeting now? We can really skip those refinement meetings now. And in some cases we are really lagging. Then we need to really plan extra hours for the refinement so that we will catch up that gap. So this is the first practice we have seen, how to calendarize the backlog refinement meetings and based on what. Second thing is, even though backlog refinement meeting pick up the backlog items that are with high priority, it is also equally important to check whether we are meeting the minimum requirements in the work item. What is the minimum requirement? There is an user story. We have not written any acceptance criteria. We have just written the title alone. As a product owner, the title alone is given by the product owner and he or she have not added the acceptance criteria. And as per the priority, this user story is of high priority, so we are planning to pick that up. This is not the right scenario. Why it is not the right scenario? Our backlog refinement meeting is meant to understand and get the clarity of the requirements, ask questions, put right information, discuss about what are the things that come as dependencies, risk in this work item, and then estimate the work item. This is the plan. But when we say that we only have the skeleton of the user story, that means only the title of the user story, and we don't have the complete information inside it, we will not be able to utilize the backlog refinement in a right way, because only with that very important outline alone, that's what I say, it as a skeleton of the story, which means only it has the title and it doesn't have the actual details, then there are chances team may not be able to utilize the backlog refinement meeting in the right part. They will be trying to add the acceptance criteria, and the meeting will be used for designing the user story rather than discussing about the work items. So how to prevent this? That is why we say that minimum information is required and available in the work item for the refinement meeting. So when we say these are the items that are of high priority, it is also very much important whether we have sufficient information to take these work items as part of backlog refinement meeting or not. When we say that we don't have sufficient information, we should give some space and time for product owner to complete their things, so that we can utilize those things in a right way in the backlog refinement meeting. Is this applicable for all work items? No, there is a catch. In certain items, product owner needs team support to add it from the scratch, because certain things are not so clear for the product owner. Maybe why part is clear, why this work item is clear to product owner, but to add details, product owner is not having sufficient information. But this will not happen for all work items, it is an exception. So for those things alone, we can consider, okay, fine, we will be utilizing the backlog refinement meeting to come up with the initial set of information. But actually speaking, we should be ready with minimum set of information in the work item that is going to be refined in the backlog refinement meeting. So in a nutshell, priority alone will not decide whether what work items are going to be part of the backlog refinement meeting. In addition, how much information is available in the work item is also very much important. So first best practice is how much time and how are we planning the backlog refinement meeting. Calendarizing it is the first best practice. Second best practice is all about ensuring minimum set of information is available before picking those items for backlog refinement. So how to ensure this? With the help of defining levels of definition of ready. So this we will be talking in the very next episode, how to calculate the definition of ready, how to calculate the readiness of work items, that we will be seeing. But in a nutshell, it should be very clear that minimum set of information is really required. So who is going to validate that? It's Scrum Master's responsibility to validate this. So how this should be taken care? That is the third best practice. So before actually calendarizing the backlog refinement meeting, Scrum Master should check with the product owner what are the items that we are planning for the backlog refinement, get the list of items, check the readiness of those work items, whether they are really ready to be presented in front of the team for refinement or not. If yes, then send that list of items to the team well in advance. Why? This is the third best practice. Send the list of work items that are going to be refined well in advance to the team, so that team will be able to prepare. They can think of, okay, these are the things that I can expect in the refinement meeting. I have certain questions on this. I am able to see that there are already some dependencies. And if team is feeling that certain things need to be added, they can also give some kind of hint to the product owner to add those points. It is not a detailed study, or it is not a detailed analysis the team is going to do. It is a very, very sanity level check whether what is this story all about, what is this work item all about, what are we trying to achieve. That's all. Because team will get complete understanding during the refinement meeting, but this will give them initial set of information what they need to make ready from their side before attending this backlog refinement meeting. So this is the third best practice. Fourth best practice is, during the refinement meeting, always capture meeting minutes. When I say meeting minutes, here it is not about what we are discussing. The meeting minutes is going to give three sections. One is the whole backlog refinement meeting summary. Second one is dependencies and its relevant tracker. Third one is identified risk and its tracker. So the first one is backlog refinement summary. How we are sending, what are the things that we are planning for the backlog refinement before even the backlog refinement meeting to the team, so that they can prepare. Similarly, once we complete the backlog refinement meeting, we should send backlog refinement summary notes. What this will be having, what are the items that we have planned, what are the items that we have completed, and what are the items that we have estimated, and what are the items which we are unable to estimate, and what is blocking that, whether it has a dependency or whether things are not so clear. Some action items have been given to product owner. If so, what are the action items? And total in 1 hour, or how many hours we have spent for the refinement meeting, what is the achievement that we have done, what is the outcome of that meeting that we have achieved, how many story points we got it. So these many hours, these many story points. So this is the first set of refinement summary. So this will give us the clear picture which all the work items are completed in the refinement, which are the work items are blocked because of some action items that are pending, which are the work items which are in progress and some team members need to come back with some information, or we are having some dependencies. And the second list is all about dependencies list. What are the dependencies that we have identified against which work item, and who is owning that, and what is the target date for resolving that dependency, and what are the action items related to that dependency resolution. This is the second list. Third one is what are the risks identified, and when I say what are the risks identified, whether those risks are mitigated or accepted or owned, where are we with that. So risk can be either we would have made a mitigation plan, or sometimes we need to accept the risk as it is, or sometimes we have found a owner who will be working on the action items, and or sometimes we would have already resolved the risk itself. So where are we with that, what is the status of the risk, and what are the action items, what are the mitigation plan that we have identified against each and every mitigation plan, what are the action items, who are the action owners, what is the target date. All these details will come in the third section, that is the risk. So this is one of the best practice to capture the whole meeting minutes. When I say meeting minutes, it is not about directly mentioning about what is happening in the meeting. Instead, we should classify this with these set of details: identification of risk, identification of dependencies and the relevant actions, and the other item is backlog refinement summary report. So this is also going to be helpful in the future to identify, as I mentioned, to calculate the refinement meeting, how many hours we need the refinement meeting, because in so and so time team can achieve so and so story points. So if I want to achieve so and so story points, how many hours I need. So in a way that will be really helpful as a team for us to understand. So this report is going to be helpful. So these all are the best practices I want to share. So the First one is related to calendarize the refinement meeting with the help of time required for the refinement plus the product backlog health. And second one is ensure that minimum level of information is available in all the work items. And third one is when we say that we have work items available, we have planned these are the items, we have calendarized it. Before sending the calendar invite, ensure that we are sending the list of work items that are planned in the refinement meeting so the team has some space to prepare on that. Initial level of understanding. Last one is preparing the overall report, which includes backlog refinement summary report, dependencies, and risk identified that during the refinement meeting. So this is the overall set of things that we need to take care as part of best practices, which will really help us to have our backlog refinement meeting in a very smooth and successful way. As well, it will also give lot of outcome for us, because we are initially setting lot of expectations and sharing information well in advance, so that it is going to really help the team to prepare. So if we follow these best practices, definitely it will help us in our backlog refinement meeting and its achievement. Thanks everyone for listening. Happy learning and stay tuned.